Welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am doing another What I Know video. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about how as artists we struggle with comparison. I just posted a little bit about it on another video that I posted where I'm drawing a portrait of Newton Scamander. But I wanted to do another video here with a little bit more information, a little more robust. You can also check out a written post that I did on my blog if you want to get more of the comparison side of this conversation. I posted about the effects of comparison on our artistic journey, how it can affect us in a discouraging way and potentially put us in a place where we're not feeling forward motivation or we're just feeling discouraged. But I think there's positive things that we can take from comparing our work to other artists or looking at other artists' work and then starting to evaluate our own work. I don't think it's necessarily inherently an evil thing. I think as artists we need to be constantly comparing our work if we want to grow. And so I wanted to talk through this video a little bit about that I know that as artists, when we find ourselves comparing our work to other artists' work, we need to take a step back and we need to think about how we can use that comparison and that understanding of where we're at and looking at other artists and sort of comparing our work to theirs, how we can use that as a motivation towards growth. So one of the things that comes out of that process of comparing, that should come out of it as a positive thing, is to use that process of comparison as a reality check. We need to always be honest with ourselves as creators about where we are at technically in our skill. As an illustrator, as an artist, I find that a lot of times find young artists are really quick to give a high praise or a high reflection on their own work. If you were to ask them about where they think they're at with their work, they'll probably tell you, I think I'm really good. And that probably comes from a place of oftentimes in our own lives, when we're sort of surrounded by our immediate peer group and our family, we often will receive praise for the work that we do. Parents are very encouraging, siblings and friends can be very encouraging, and oftentimes we're the only person in our circle that's really pursuing creative things, and so people are sort of wowed by that and amazed by that, which is a funny thing because as people we always start out life being creative. When you're a kid, you always want to draw stuff, but then as you get older, you sort of at some point make a decision that, you know what, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or I don't want to pursue this. So you often end up being the only person. But when you are receiving that positive feedback, when you're a young artist and you receive that positive feedback, it can sort of stifle you from an honest reflection on your work and stifle you from honest growth. It's really important if you are working in a bubble and you find yourself in this comparison loop where you do some work and then you're looking at other people's work on Instagram or social media or just on the internet. You can often find yourself sort of stuck because you can look at these artists, and oftentimes as artists we post only what's good, like our finished work. And so you see all this work out there on the internet and it's all really good stuff, and you can find yourself sort of getting stuck and not wanting to move forward and just feeling discouraged. So there's ways you can combat that and ways that you can turn it into a positive thing. You can combat your own sort of internal dialogue of like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, by looking at other people's work and honestly reflecting on it. If you can't do that on your own, or if you have a hard time seeing where things are wrong, which is something that I've always struggled with, just being able to see after I've worked on a piece for a long time, seeing where the errors are. Having a trusted counsel is really important. So other creators, other illustrators or artists who can give you honest feedback and constructive feedback is super important. And it can help stifle and eliminate the comparison issues, the monster that can sort of drag you down. So it can help you have an honest reflection, and it can help you get over the fact that you're not maybe quite where you want to be yet. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on with comparison, moving from sort of the monster of comparison into an active sort of constructive use of those feelings, is about setting targets. I really have taken a liking to Phil Noto's work. And there's a creator on Instagram, I believe his name is Dave Malinar. I think I mentioned him in my other video as well. They have um, a very healthy use of line, a very economic use of line, and they get really solid results from their drawing in a really simple fashion. And so I have a tendency in my own creative journey to look at other creators' work and sort of get discouraged or feel like, why am I not there yet? Sometimes I'll look at other creators' work who are younger than me, and I just marvel at their capacity and their technical abilities, and I get sort of feeling discouraged. But these artists in particular, I've been looking at their work and sort of riffing off of them. You'll see in some of my other portrait work on my YouTube channel. I can put a couple links below, or I guess at the end of this video, and you can kind of watch some of those if you'd like. But I've been inspired by Phil Noto and trying to pull from his work and bring some of that sensibility into my own workings. And it's a really great exercise to go through that. So sometimes comparison can get you on a path towards maybe a visual direction that you would like your work to go. And it's okay to do that. It's totally okay to look at other artists' work and even do like a complete redraw of something that they've drawn, which I've done with some of his work in my sketchbooks. I'll just take one of his line drawings and I'll try to draw it exactly as he's drawn it, trying to understand and break down what he's doing with his line and why is it working? Why is the economy working so well? What is he doing, along the cheekbone to create that structure without having to like render everything super detailed? That's my tendency, is to really want to sort of flesh stuff out and blend and create almost like sculpting. And I want to get away from that. I want to be more economical with my line work and just a little more sensitive. And so that's why I've been studying his work and trying to understand it alongside studying, Bridgman's Anatomy and that other book that I've mentioned many times, Figure Drawing, Design and Invention, and trying to understand just the structure of what I'm drawing so that my knowledge is there so that I can actually move forward and draw stuff without looking at reference or without looking at these other artists. Dave Malin on Instagram, his work is really great too. Super economic in his line work, very, very nice portrait work. And he actually posted something on his Instagram the other day where he posted a drawing of a figure, a full figure. And usually on his Instagram feed is all portrait work, so just kind of busts. But he had posted a figure and he had written a little caption underneath in the Instagram feed about how drawing the human figure is something that he really enjoys because it reveals his weaknesses as an illustrator and his lack of understanding, and it's a good push for him. And so that's great because I look at this artist's work and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so brilliant and it's kind of where I would like to go. But I see in his vulnerability and his willingness to show that and to say those things, I see sort of his own struggles and also that he's actively working towards growing in this way. And so it gives me hope that like with my work, I can also do that. I can look at other people's work. I can try to integrate some of their techniques and approaches, and hopefully my capacities will grow and my style will develop and grow. And so comparison, if you find yourself comparing yourself to other people's art, your art to other people's art, you may want to take a step back and look at those people's art that you're sort of lauding or like looking at and just, I guess, obsessing over or wanting to be like, and just evaluate what is it actually about that work that really is speaking to me. And so that you can try and capture the essence of that and start to integrate it into your own work. And it might not come right away. You may have to go through some exercises of deconstructing their work, trying to redraw it, trying to do drawings of a similar style or approach to theirs before it starts to click and make sense. So those are two things that I think comparison needs to do. One is if you find yourself comparing yourself to other artists and having a hard time evaluating your own work, maybe because don't have a clear sort of group around you, or if you're finding that work is making you discouraged, find a group, find some people to give you honest feedback so that comparison of your work turns into something you can grow from. And then also set targets. So look at those artists and do breakdowns and work through some of how they're doing stuff, and then start to try and move your art, your creations in that direction. So comparison can be either very detrimental, or we can use it to help ourselves grow and move forward. So that was just a kind of a short video. I wanted to talk to you guys about some of those things. I'm curious if you've got your own opinions about comparison and how it affects us creatively, how it can either hinder or help us. I know it's something that I'm just constantly thinking through and trying to work through as a creator. So I hope that you guys are able to push through it, and that you're able to keep moving forward, and that you don't let the comparison beast kind of drag you down, but instead you find yourself overcoming it and moving forward. So that's what I know. Comparison can really be a detriment to us as creators, or if we channel it in the right direction, it can help us move forward. So I hope you guys get something out of this, and I'll check in with you guys next time. Until then, be good to each other. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to see more content, please click one of the videos on the screen. If you'd like to be notified when all my videos go up, please click the bell icon. And if you'd like to follow me on social medias, you can find me on patreon.com/Corey Lansdell. I'm at Corey Lansdell on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook as well. Until next time, you guys, be good to each other.